Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Finance Committee. Today's date is June 28th. Clerk, can you do a roll call, please?
Chairwoman Anthony is absent. Vice Chairman Pichardo is absent. Councilman Taylor.
Here.
Councilor Anderboy.
Here.
Councilor Sanchez.
Here.
We have 3 present and 2 absent. We have a quorum.
Okay, at this time, I'd ask for a nomination for chairperson of this Committee on Finance for this meeting only. Are there any nominations?
Councilman Jim Taylor.
I would second that.
Okay, motion. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? There's no other hearing, no other nominations. City Clerk, let's see. 1 ballot for Jim Taylor as chair for this meeting. And can you read item 1, please?
Communication from His Honor the Mayor dated June 9th, 2023, informing the honorable members of the City Council that pursuant to Section 302B of the Providence Home Rule Charter of 1980, as amended, he is this day reappointing Scott Slater of 74 Sawyer Street, Providence, Rhode Island, 02907, as a member of the Providence Public Building Authority for a term to expire on July 31st, 2028, and respectfully submits the same for your approval.
Scott, step up to the table where we can swear him in.
Please raise your right hand. You swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
You just state your name for the record again.
Scott A. Slater. Congratulations, Chairman.
Yeah. So you want to be on the Providence Public Building Authority. Why is that, Scott?
Well, I feel it's an honor to serve the city. I've been a 30-year city employee in the finance department for probably about 15 of those years, I want to say. And I've served on the Providence Public Building Authority as a representative of the finance department. Been a true honor monitoring. But as of late, really, because of under the mayor laws and the city council, they came up with an infrastructure plan. In the past, when I was on the Providence Public Building Authority, it was mostly school construction and school bonds, because that was all the borrowing I would get. But under the infrastructure plan, the city went out for considerable borrowings, which were broken up within different wards. And so it's been an honor to serve on there and monitor the progress of the CIP that you folks put forward, and just making sure that the projects stay on task and ordinances are followed, and that the projects stay consistent, and if there are changes, it's authorized by not only the mayor and the council.
So before we start, I'd like to thank all 3 of you for coming. But one thing I did mention, and I mentioned to my colleagues, is that I'm very happy to see 3 nominees that all live in the city. So I think that's very important that any position that come through, I'm very happy. I mean, he's my state rep, so I'm a little biased with him, but you know, both of you, I appreciate you coming and being in the city and wanting to come on to these committees. Anybody have any questions? But Scott?
How many people are on the board?
5. So Ron Crossan is the chair. There's also Ben Kilbridge, Jim McLaughlin, and Abram Pinales. I think maybe Ben and Jim McLaughlin are both might be your constituents, council and Abram, I think, is in Councilman Chado's area. And so, and then Ron, I'm not sure exactly whose area.
He's Mary
Mary
Kay.
Kay, yeah. So a little spread out
Moves
throughout
up,
the city,
right.
you know? So
There are no women on the committee.
they're on it, so maybe the next
Maybe the
time
next
around,
person
you
we
know?
get.
And my status, according to the charter, this should be a representative of the finance department.
yeah.
So in the past, it's been the finance director, but our finance director does not live within the city. So the charter also requires residency. So
Okay.
as a representative of the finance department, I kind of report back the progress and everything to our director, which is Sarah Silvera.
Just a quick question. I mean, I don't want to get too in the weeds, but something that like I've seen in the past year or so is public housing authorities, requesting or trying to be part of like the housing solution a little bit more, from the state level. And I mean, you have a unique experience being a state rep as well. Is there anything like the board can be doing to keep that momentum going or?
So our board, the Providence Public Building Authority, we kind of oversee and put in similar clerk of the works to make sure projects are going forward. But it's really up to the council as far as with their, we follow whatever the council puts forth. So we make sure that the bills are within a CIP line item that you folks have established within the infrastructure plan. So we don't really have any discretion to, up at the assembly in a different role,
Right.
you know, like, so we put in money into the new housing department for, specifically for independent. Yeah, I think
Right,
that's probably the line that you're talking about, which
Right.
is supposed to work with the housing authorities.
right.
But doesn't have anything to do with
The board.
in the Providence Public Building. It's more so the money that the city borrows.
Right. Makes sense.
Board work much with, like, how does the board interact, just because I'm learning about the board, how much does it interact with the public properties department?
A lot.
Okay.
So we actually have an emergency meeting tomorrow that we're having. And really that's to address the insurance for the city, because what has happened, if you see nationally, all the disasters that have happened, our insurance has gone up significantly for coverage for the Providence Public Building Authority. I mean, almost 40%. Because of just national issues. And we work a lot with planning, with Bob Azar comes regularly reports. CFO Lawrence Mancini comes to report on financial issues. Bob's more of like the plan, like different projects going on in the city. And we also have the new director of public property, and also Amanda Pontarelli, who's over there, comes, and she tracks a lot of the CIP project. You can kind of see on our website, if you've
Yeah.
ever been on monday.com, you can see the progress of a lot of the CIP projects. Which is something that we track also. We set up forms to make sure that the departments are following the ordinances and MBE issues and stuff like that. So,
Any other questions? Okay, I don't have any questions. How about, ask for motion to approve?
Second.
Second, we have motion to approve and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, we have none, so the ayes have it.
thank you so much.
Congratulations.
It was an honor to appear for you guys tonight.
Thank
So
you, Scott.
If
Good
you ever
luck.
have any issues or questions, Jim knows.
I know where you live.
We know where to find you.
I know where you live.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you. Clerk, can you read number 2, please?
Communication from His Honor the Mayor dated June 9th, 2023, informing the honorable members of the City Council that pursuant to sections 302B and 1013 of the Providence Home Rule Charter of 1980, as amended in Public Law, Chapter 45 through 50, Sections 1 through 31, passed in 1987, he is this day appointing Charlotte Morrow Lipschitz, 4 Grant Street, Providence, Rhode Island, 02909, as a member of the City Plan Commission for a term to expire on January 31st, 2027, and respectfully submits the same for your approval.
Can I combine both of these since they're the same? I mean, just a different date, but they're both going to the same. Or do you want to do one of them?
I would do one at a time.
Okay.
Yes.
Charlotte? Swear her in, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. And please state your name for the record.
Charlotte Morrow Lipschitz.
So Charlotte, why do you want to be on the City Plan Commission?
So I'm a relatively recent returnee to the city of Providence. I lived here during college and for a little while after, and then took off to Boston for grad school and for a little while after that. And I guess I would say I'm really excited to be back. I'm excited to kind of dive into a role at the city. And I think this is an exciting time for the City Plan Commission with the new comprehensive plan coming up. I returned to the city now as a trained architect, which I wasn't when I last lived here. And so, I'm really excited about the chance to shape how the city grows over the next 10 years with the comprehensive plan. And then I guess additionally, in addition to that, I'm really excited to just learn a ton about what is happening in this city through a role on the commission. Because I'm diving back into Providence because I'm a returnee. I've lost touch with a lot of the stuff, the sort of recent goings on in the city, and I think this is a great opportunity again at returning as an architect to kind of really understand how the city is growing.
Well, welcome back.
Thanks.
Anybody have any questions?
I think we're gonna ask the same question. No, maybe not. I hate to ask a very topic specific question, but I'm gonna do it, so apologies, but Councilor Sanchez and I both have worked on an ordinance that would prevent the proliferation of self-storage units across the city and stop allowing them by right in any zoning district, and actually just put them on the prohibited list. That was heard before the City Plan Commission last night, actually, to make a recommendation. I would love to hear your thoughts on self-storage and how you would felt about that. And I know you're you didn't get the whole presentation or anything, but just in general. It's also happening in Boston, so I imagine.
Yeah. So I will say I haven't, taken the time to give deep thought as to where self-storage is most sort of appropriate within Providence. Or outside, in the sort of greater Providence area. So I don't know that I'm fully educated to speak on this issue, but I guess I hope that in thinking about the comprehensive plan and how we start to shape, again, the next decade in Providence, we can listen to a lot of different perspectives on these types of issues. I know there are hot button issues like this. This isn't the only one. And I think the opportunity we have now in the next year and a half is to really try to listen to everyone, not just the loudest voices, but try to understand the issue fully and then make recommendations or try to shape that plan in a way that is gonna deliver the greatest good to the greatest number of people. And that doesn't mean, the greatest money to the most powerful individuals. That really means that we think about the city as a whole and how its different neighborhoods operate and how they commingle and how they preserve the sort of feeling of what Providence is. And, there are always places to put things that are more strategic than other places. And so I think what I'm really excited about is just to try to get the opportunity to learn about these issues and then kind of make judgment as to where those types of uses or programs belong in the city.
Any other questions?
Do you have any opinions on parking minimums?
So I spend a lot of time talking about parking minimums as an architect presenting in front of commissions like the City Plan Commission. I guess my opinion, again, it may differ by neighborhood, it may differ by context. There's certainly places where there's a greater need for parking and a lesser need for parking. What I do know is that parking is exceedingly expensive to build, and that's a non-negotiable. And so I think where we can be more strategic about delivering really good transit, we need to be looking at opportunities to reduce parking counts that are required simply because it gets in the way of building housing and other useful stuff on the land we have.
Sure. Go ahead. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Fire away.
My other question is around, so we, as you know, we're in a climate crisis, and we're a city on the water that is like totally bisected by rivers and all the things. How would you think about your role in on the planning commission and how we plan for climate resilience and climate mitigation as part of like the comprehensive plan and as part of just like how we plan for the future of our city?
Yeah,
It's like super like.
I really appreciate the question. I think, in preparing for this meeting, I've looked at the previous comprehensive plan and I've tried to think like, if I were going to expand this in one way or another, how, what would be the issues that I would expand? And certainly resilience and thinking about how we're affecting climate change here in Providence is a big area for me, just in reviewing that plan and thinking about what its next iteration looks like. I think what I should say, before I was an architect, I studied economics. And so I definitely believe in, setting up a system that sets up incentives that, creates incentives for actors within the system to act in a particular way. And I think there are really good examples that I hope that the comprehensive plan process kind of allows us to study that pull in incentives for acting in a productive way vis-a-vis resilience and lowering our carbon emissions, whether that be through embodied carbon within building materials or just through building operation. One in particular that I'm more familiar with is Somerville, Massachusetts, but I think there are a handful of these types of plans that we can reference and learn from. And so I think, to me, that's a super critical part of the next plan.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I don't have any questions. Just like to thank you for coming in front of us and getting grilled about self-storage.
Yeah. I promise we're really friendly, yeah.
But it will be soon, hopefully.
But no, thank you for coming back to Providence. And if there's no further questions, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Is all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No, all opposed, none. The ayes have it. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you. And clerk, if you could read number 3, please.
Communication from His Honor the Mayor dated June 9th, 2023, informing the honorable members of the City Council that pursuant to sections 302B and 1013 of the Providence Home Rule Charter of 1980, as amended, and Public Law, Chapter 45-50, Sections 1 through 31, passed in 1987, he is this day appointing William Sherry of 17 University Avenue, Providence, Rhode Island, 02906, as a real estate development or finance category member of the City Plan Commission for a term expire on January 31st, 2025, and respectfully submits the same for your approval.
Welcome, William. If you could swear him in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your name again for the record?
William Sherry.
William, welcome to the Finance Committee. Thank you for
I'm excited
coming.
to be here.
And you want to be on the City Plan Commission too? So
I
tell
do.
us why. Do you watch Storage Wars or no?
No.
No, just trying to break it.
And you
That's
got
all.
a preview of all the questions.
You already got all the questions. She's got more though. She only asked 1 through 3. So
Well, I'm a native of Providence. I was born in Providence. I actually bought a house recently across the street from where I was born on University Ave. And after college, I came back to Providence. I opened a grocery store that I operated for 4 years on Wickedon Street, trying to get local foods into the community. It was a great little project to kind of become closer and closer and get a better perspective of the city itself. For the past 5 years, I've sold real estate, residential and commercial real estate in the city. So city's near and dear to my heart. I'm here to raise my family here. I have a lot of ambitions and hopes and dreams for this city. And I see us, hitting a plateau at this point, which I hope to help guide and continue in a trajectory towards excellence, which I think we can achieve.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
I know you have 4 or 5. Go ahead.
Well, first, I totally shopped at Willie's Local Food, so.
You did, oh,
yeah.
excellent,
I
yes,
was like,
thank you,
"Oh."
thank you.
I was so sad when it closed. Same question, so, thinking about the climate resilience question first, because that was the last one we asked there.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love your thoughts on that.
Well, I think green space is very important. You know, I'd love to see the city, you know, especially between west side, south side, downtown, and east side, it's so walkable. And to can try to push the walkability more and more. I know the hills are kind of a killer in some areas, but having transit that's going to allow people to easily maneuver the city is going to be a big thing. To, you know, to not remove cars, but to slowly usher them out or in a better way, so we can have more green space, more bike lanes, you know, make the city, you know, more unified space, I think is important, you know, for climate change. You know, just getting everyone part of the city, and, you know, what we've done by the river is already excellent. I think it's a big thing for us. So, but green space, I think, is the biggest thing.
The same self-storage question, how do you feel about self-storage?
Yes, yeah, well, I was on the committee yesterday. So yes.
So you saw the whole thing?
I
Okay.
saw the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, self-storage obviously is eating up so much of our city. You know, we have a little postage stamp of a city, and we can't be giving it up to, you know, these businesses that, though they do make money, you know, take away from the possibility of having a lot of employees or housing or anything like that. So I'd like to see it, you know, be prohibited. I know we did agree on getting it out of the commercial sector and keeping it potentially in industrial with some, you know, special use permits. So I think that the free market also is something that you have to weigh there. You know, if the free market is continuing to say that this business can exist, you know, it's hard to completely shut it down, but I think there was a pretty good decision there to at least keep it out of the commercial altogether. I hope that's, you know, a good step in the right direction.
And those are just recommendations, so we don't have to necessarily make it commercial. We can still do commercial. Just saying that out loud, 'cause it's still really good. Yeah.
Yeah, the council fully supports complete prohibition.
But yeah, those were my questions. You have
Any questions?
No, I mean, your first statement, I mean, definitely seems like you're aligned with a lot of counselors in terms of more walkable city, more green space. I only have maybe like a 200-foot square like park in my neighborhood. No, it's probably like 2,000 square feet like park. But
Yeah.
that's the only green space there is in my ward. So that's something that I'm committed to next couple of years, building more green spaces for the community to enjoy.
Yeah, I think if we can push those, that thing, I have a 2-year-old daughter, and we go to all the parks. To see more of those, you know, would be really great. Not just for younger children, but even parks that are more adapt to, you know, older children. So.
It's great to see someone who grew up here and wants to serve the city this way.
Any other questions?
My last question is, what do you think your experience as a real estate agent will help you on the commission?
Well, I think it really gives me a firsthand look at the housing crisis that we're dealing with right now. Not only are we selling houses, but in condos, but we're also doing a lot of leasing. And it's just an incredible struggle right now at any price point. You know, whether it's someone very wealthy or someone that's just starting off, it's incredibly difficult to find any housing in the city. And so I think that's something we really want to remedy. And already from some of the meetings we've had, we've seen a lot of subdivision of smaller lots so we could build some more housing. I think that's the right direction. I think we just have such a deficit that, you know, we need to get busy building.
Right.
You know, responsible.
Right. Do you have any ideas on what we can do to build more?
You know, density
Yeah.
would be better. You know, I know all the neighborhoods are going to push back on some density, and we don't want to put it neighborhoods that don't necessarily want it, but I think we do need to push for more density, because I think we want a bigger population in the city, so the businesses can come in and we'll have people to hire and we'll be able to house their employees as well. So I think, you know, looking at density from different perspectives, I think is important.
Absolutely. I mean, I have like 4, maybe 5 streets in my ward that are R1 zone. But anything that's being built there is applying for variances and zoning changes for R2. So I mean, I've been talking to neighbors and it sounds like there is a lot of support just to get rid of that in my specific neighborhood.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'll definitely be talking to folks throughout the comp plan process.
Good, good.
Have a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And all those opposed, it's none. The ayes have it. Welcome
All
aboard.
right, thank
Welcome
you.
all three of
Thank
you.
So much,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
That was a record.
Awesome.
1.5 hour.
I think so.
No other business. I think that I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, City Society.